Hello friends, this is Charlie Stevens here. Welcome back to the channel. I'd like to talk about reading tablature. So tablature is similar to reading music, but it's a little bit less formal and a little bit more of a user-friendly system for somebody that doesn't want to really invest the time that it takes to learn how to read music. Tab can be a good way to go. It takes a little less time to get into. It's a little bit more clear. So it has some benefits and some downfalls compared to standard notation. One thing about tab is that generally we don't see any rhythm in there, so you have to know the song pretty well to figure out the rhythm. Now we can actually add rhythm to tab, but the rhythms we add are the same rhythms that we learned for standard notation, so that's why it's really important to learn those. So interestingly enough, tab is actually older than written music, which I thought was kind of interesting because I learned that first when I was younger, and it sort of seemed like a shortcut to reading music. But no, it's a real system that's been around for a long time, and just represents the strings. So all of the different lines, rather than representing individual musical pitches, will represent one of our physical strings on the instrument. And then we'll use numbers, and we'll write a number on that line, and that will tell you which fret to play. Whatever number I write there is the number of the fret, and whatever line I write on is the number of the string. Okay, so for guitar, one confusing thing about this is that it's almost like we're looking at it upside down. Let me grab the guitar here. If I'm reading tablature, the highest line, I'm going to have 6 lines. Instead of the 5 we had for standard notation, in guitar tablature I will have 6 lines, 1 line for each one of my 6 strings. So the high E will be the highest line. E, B, G, D, A. Low E will be the lowest. So it's almost like you have to imagine you're looking at the guitar almost upside down. If I kind of flip my guitar and I look at it like this, okay, yeah, E, B, G, D, A, E. Kind of looks like tab. So that's sort of how I like to imagine it. And I'm told that it wasn't always unified like this, and in some cultures they would represent the physically higher strings with the higher lines, and in other cultures they would represent the higher pitches, the higher sounding pitches with the higher lines. And ultimately that's the one that won out and is the one we use today, where the top line, that's going to be the highest in pitch, which is your high E, which, as we recall from our strings video, that's going to be the one closest to my toes here. Okay, so that's how tablature works. Each line represents a string. We need to know which one. First string, second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, and sixth string, in that order. Okay, I think it makes sense to have them in that order because that's how standard notation works also. So you got the higher pitches up here, lower pitches down here. So sort of makes sense. Okay, so if we were to play in A, well, I have an open string named A, right? So I could find that second line from the bottom and I could write a 0 on it, and that would mean not to play any frets, 0 frets. Or sometimes a 0 looks like an O for an open string. Kind of mean the same thing in this case, right? Now, if on that same line, the 5th string, the second one from the bottom, the A string, if I were to write a 1 on there, I would actually have to play the 1st fret now. And I would have to know that that's A sharp or B flat. Tablature wouldn't tell me that. We wouldn't know the names of our notes. We would have to just sort of figure it out. Oftentimes it doesn't come with rhythm. So there are some drawbacks to this system, making it a little bit less complete than standard notation. But I think it's still really valuable to learn, and most songs have tablature available for free online. A lot of times they don't have the rhythm, like I said, so you'll have to listen to the song very closely and kind of figure it out by ear a good amount too, but the tab can really help, get your fingers in the right place. So I think tab is very useful. You can find most songs online written in tab, so it's very helpful to be able to do that. There's sort of an incomplete system. You generally have the rhythm with that, so you have to listen to the song pretty closely to be able to figure it out, but it will tell you which strings and what frets. That will kind of get your hands in the right place. Tab also makes it very difficult to indicate which fingers to use, because if I use a number on one of those lines to tell you the fret, if I were to write another number there, like to indicate a finger, that would get really confusing. You can't have a number and then a littler number shimmied in there, right? But that's how we do it in standard notation. If I just had the note written in and then I write a 4 next to it, you know, oh, that must be my fourth finger on that note. So yeah, lots of pros and cons, but tab is a great way for even remembering something that you've played. Maybe you write a really cool riff and you just write 6 lines on a piece of paper and you write the number of frets you played. And that's probably enough. Although if you don't find that paper for like 6 months, you might not remember the rhythms and it might sound totally different, right? So it's kind of part of the fun, part of the experimentation with tab. Okay, but very straightforward system. I'd encourage you all to check it out, and I hope that helps you on your guitar journey. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.